Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. From the International Diamond Center Studios, it is fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. You can go check them out right here at Celebration Point. We got Buddy Martin. We'll have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. I want to give a shout out to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill last night. Freddie Weeby and his crew, their 4th year anniversary, packed house. Got to hang out with a lot of the media boys. It was a good night. Let's go to another media boy on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Good old Buddy Martin. What's up, buddy?
Morning, Shane. One of the media boys who was not at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill last night. I was working here back hard against Andrews Bay, which you see behind me this morning. Beautiful Panama City, Florida. Sounds like you guys had a wonderful time. Had a bunch of you on last night on my show, not least of which was you. Freddie tried to get on but couldn't. Then we had Fran Speard and just a bunch of guys on last night who were there, and everybody talks about how good the food was. I got to tell you, they do a magnificent job. I had a couple people come on and say it's the best restaurant I've ever eaten in. Well, I won't go that far because I've eaten some 5 stars and they're really good, but I paid 3 times more money to eat those restaurants. And for the food and service, I mean, seriously, he's our friend and we love the place. He does great things, but Spurrier's Gridiron Grill is as good as you'll want for your money. I would say that, Shane, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's more than the food. It's the museum, all that kind of stuff. It's very, very good. We got a couple of texts here I want to get to on the Titan Moore text line. This is somebody, and the 904 says, "Is Mertz done? He looked awful. 3 interceptions is not good." I didn't watch any of it. You don't put a whole lot into preseason games. I think Graham Mertz will be on their practice squad. I think their 2 quarterbacks will obviously be C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills. Most teams now only keep 2 on their active roster. But from everything I've heard, I think he's going to make the practice squad. We got a text here from Jimmy here in Gainesville on the Titan MR text line. Excuse me. He said, "Guys, did y'all see Andy Staples' list of the blue bloods for college football?" And he sent me a picture of it. I don't know if you've seen it, Freddie. Have you seen? I'm Freddie. Buddy, have you seen it?
I saw it, yes.
All right, so we're going to let our listeners get their thoughts on this. That was interesting. So Andy Staples, who's a former Gator, does a really good job now on 3. His blue bloods for college football are these 12 schools: Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and Southern Cal. He says the ones that missed the cut were Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, and Penn State. Your thoughts on that, buddy?
His opinion. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Anybody who has Miami and FSU as a blue blood, not Florida, is trying not to put the Gators in that company. You had to try to not do that. Andy does a good job most of the time. He did a good job on his Netflix special, but I mean, really, let's be honest. Who cares what Andy Staples is in Blue Bloods? We know what the Blue Bloods are. We don't need to be told what they are. So, yeah, that's your opinion.
Give me your 10. He did 12. Do you have 10 Blue Bloods?
I couldn't think of all of them. I would certainly, you do the obvious ones. Would be, obviously, Penn State, Alabama. I couldn't sit and list them all. You know what they are. I can get my list out and go through it. But in my opinion, you don't put Miami and FSU on a blue blood list and not put the Florida Gators with 3 national championships on there? What's his criteria? Make what cut? By whose standards? I mean, please, I'm not going to waste my time worrying about what Andy Staples thinks about the Blue Bloods. I've been around long enough to know Blue Bloods when I see them. I've seen a lot of games and a lot of teams. I could sit here and be academic and go through everyone and tell you why I don't have the criteria in front of me. I mean, I don't even know who all you mentioned. I mean, yeah, I could throw USC out there. I could throw out Alabama. I could throw out Texas. I could throw a lot of other schools. But I would start with, what is your criteria? I would say my daughter taught me one thing a long time ago. She was very much into medical stuff. And I would get these, I was doing a non-sports show, and I'd say, well, guess what? They say that this food is bad for you. And she would say, who did the study? And I'd say, well, Pillsbury or whatever, well, that's why. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm not accusing Andy of rigging the deal, but Shane, do you really believe a list like that without Florida on it is legit?
No, I mean, I was surprised not to see them. I don't know why Tennessee is on there, quite honestly.
Over Florida.
Yeah, but whatever. We'll move on. Reggie on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, says, what is the word on LJ McCray's injury? Reggie, all I know, it's a leg injury.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happened a week or two ago. I don't remember exactly when. What do you know about it, buddy?
Just what you said. They announced it and they said that it's not expected to be long term. And again, we're guessing at injuries. We have no knowledge about what really goes on. And then if we did, we still wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, on a day when we had Lagway missing the scrimmage on Saturday, then we had Billy coming back on Monday saying he had the best day ever Monday. So what does it mean, Shane? You tell me. I don't know what to tell you about it. I mean, look, get the ones you got ready to play, get them on the field, and see if they're good enough. I did a show last night talking about, and you were part of that, but in the event that he couldn't play all 12 or 11 games or whatever, 12 would say. If Lagway can't play, is that the end of the world? My answer to that is no. And it's pretty obvious why. If they decide to go ground and pound, Shane, they can do ground and pound. They've got the players, the horse of the offensive line, the running backs. I mean, who's got a better running back room than these guys? 4 studs back there, and maybe somebody we hadn't even seen yet. We got wide receivers we don't even know that much about. Tank Hawkins is having a day. I mean, there's players out there, plenty of good players. We're hearing all kinds of things about these wide receivers, the speed they got to burn. Let's play. Let's put the ball down, or spot the ball, as Billy says. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the basics. I still like him to win 9 games. I think it would be disappointing if they won fewer. I don't think he'd get fired if he won 8, but I think he's going to have to win 9, as we said last night. It depends on which 9 those are. Obviously, as to whether or not it's a good season and if they get the playoffs. So Blue Bloods, who cares?
Yeah, getting a lot of texts and Facebook Live and YouTube comments about John Mateer, the quarterback at Oklahoma, being investigated for gambling.
Yeah, that's your guy. That's your guy, and he's really good. And that's a big blow if something happens, Shane. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't. Hell, that's the first I've heard of it. I didn't know anything about it, but I don't know I don't know what they can do to these kids nowadays, because there's nothing they really can, in my opinion.
Well, it's gambling.
Right, but if he's not gambling on his own games, I don't know what it matters.
Well, it's clear evidence, his own Venmo account. He showed a bad debt paid at Washington State to somebody he lost on a gambling debt. Now, I'm so confused about gambling, because kids can walk outside, walk across the street, and gamble on anything they want to. They can go to Vegas.
They gamble on their phone. You don't have to go anywhere. It's on your phone.
No, I know. And I'm just saying, I'm just so confused about that. But that's the one. There are 2 things you don't want to have when you're trying to keep players intact. One is gambling, and the second is domestic violence. And I ask you, I don't know who would adjudicate this, Oklahoma or Washington, but would any judge in Oklahoma touch that? I mean, no way would they bench that guy. But they might go back to Washington State. I don't know in terms of whether it's the legalities. Then, of course, to the NCAA, who knows what they will be doing. So again, I'm confused about a lot of things these days, and gambling is one of them.
Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, Buddy, was Scott Strickland's letter to the Gator Nation about Urban Meyer a precursor of him going into the Ring of Honor?
I read that letter. I read down to about halfway, and I thought it was kind of a sort of a. I thought I took it as a sort of a plea for money too, but probably because he needs to be there. No matter what you think about him or what you didn't like or what you did like, whatever, he is got to go in the hall. In the Ring of Honor, you said it before, and I said it before. Who do we say? Wilbur Marshall. Who do we say what the other one was?
No, so
Uh,
I'm not sure of the criteria. From what I was told,
yeah,
the criteria is,
yeah.
to me, the next two that need to go in are Carlos Alvarez and
Carlos
Logan
Alvarez,
Brown.
that's right. My guy, my
I think
all-time
both of
favorite
them, I
player.
think,
Yeah.
right, but I think both of them need to go in before Urban. I think those
Okay.
three are the only ones that are qualified to go in.
hmm I need to get
So,
Jeremy on the phone. I had that dance with him a couple of weeks ago and almost had him and find out from him what that is about and how what the criteria. Because again, it depends. But all three of them deserve to be there. It's a matter of when. You don't want to wait too long. It's unfortunate. Many of us are getting up there in years, and we want someone to be able to enjoy. That's why it's so incredible what Coach Spurrier has done. We talked about it last night. 4 years ago, if I said to you, he's going to be an ambassador for Florida. He's going to ring the name the stadium after him, and he's going to have a successful restaurant. You said no way.
well, yeah, I would say he would never have a restaurant, but he just shows up, blows his whistle, and gives a couple of trivia questions. He ain't there really working, but he's
I
there.
know, but
Um,
it's his guy. He and Freddie would partnered up on that, and I got to give Freddie a lot of credit, but give him credit. He went after it.
Russ from South Carolina on the Titan Mark text line says Andy Staples just put out a restraining order on Buddy.
Bring it. I think
Bring
he's
it, Buddy
fine.
said.
He has finally admitted that he never played Florida. He was on the roster.
Who? Who?
Andy,
Andy's never. He's always been on the team, but he's never been one to
that's
walk
my
around
point.
talking about he was.
That's my point,
Yeah,
though. He wasn't totally forthcoming about it early on. And I get it. I mean,
I
I could say,
I don't know. I, ever since I've known Andy, he jokes around how he was a walk on and never played.
okay,
So I don't.
all right,
Yeah.
whatever. But good. I'm glad he did because he didn't.
Interesting. All right, so we got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Joe and Archer.
Hmm.
He says, Buddy, has your basketball book come out yet? I don't think you're writing it, though, right? Franz is writing it?
That's correct. It's a collaboration of Gator Bait Media Publications and the fine editors Carlton Reese. And 95% of it's done by friends with a collaboration of a few people at Gator Bait. We have some wonderful pictures. Chris Spears, lots and lots of pictures he took of the whole season. France followed them every step of the way in the national championship game. It's a very gratuitous. He's so happy to have had the opportunity. He even got fans in there talking about how lucky were they to have one more national championship. Jeffrey Mellon, I think, is one of them. I'm not sure who all he's got, but maybe Gary Keller and maybe Bill Koss. Just guys saying, wow, I got another national championship. It's a good book. I've read it. You're going to want it. We're getting the publication date now. We'd like to have something the week, Shane. I know you saw the story on the 21st of November. They're playing Merrimack in basketball. You know about this? You do, don't you? And they're giving away 10,000 replica rings, national championship rings, to the first 10,000 that come to the basketball game at the O-Dome, which is a wonderful thing they're doing. And by the way, our friend Jeffrey Mellon is underwriting that. And then sometime in that week, we hope to have that book. We're not sure. We'll have a signing. We'll have it out. We'll let you know. But no, thank you for asking. The book is going to be good. You're going to want it. I think it's called The Golden Season. So it says everything close up because Fran's followed the basketball team all the way through, and he's as good a basketball writer as there is out there.
Whenever Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorm's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. Here's Johnny on the Titan MR text line. Callie says, come on, buddy. You know good and well Billy Napier's just smoke and mirrors right now about injuries. DJ has not played. He's only thrown when the media can see him. We hope he can get healthy enough to play week 3.
Okay, fine. You can have smoke and mirrors. I've attended a couple of press conferences. I've listened to what he has to say. I've talked to other players. And by the way, if I may, just let me go ahead and say I've got Jake Slaughter on my program this week. I'm really anxious to talk to him. He, by the way, is a huge Tramell Jones fan, big fan of his. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Nobody knows what's going on with the injuries. I'm confident that people who know say he'll make the field, he'll play. So what if he plays only 8 or 9 games, Shane? They still got the tools to compete, in my opinion. And I've listed them all last night. We talked about it on the show. Yeah, of course they don't go to the elite level. I'm not saying that. We want him to play, and we think he will. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to diagnose this. I've talked to medical people. They say it is treatable. At some point, he may have to have surgery, but not for now. And he looks like he's throwing the ball okay from the video I've seen. Now, is it smoke and mirrors? Look, let's be honest. A lot of things are smoke and mirrors in coaches right now, but I like the cards he's holding.
Brian on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, says, buddy, seeing a lot of opinions on where the Gators should rank in the SEC this year. On 3 has the Gators as high as number 6. ESPN had them as low as 10. Where do you see the Gators stacking up in the SEC this year?
Well, I think they're going to be one of the better teams. Let me just say this. They're 50 in the AP poll, which is a nice place to be. It's about right where they're. You don't want them to be too high. I think we've talked about this. I think they'll lose 3. It depends on what 3 they lose. I think they got a good chance of making the playoffs. If they win 10, they will. If they win 9, they might. I love their running game. I love their offensive line. I love their quarterbacks. I love their wide receivers. I really like this defense, the way he's shaping up, and the things we're hearing about the young linebackers in the secondary. It's all, and I'm not just talking about what Billy says. I'm talking about what other players say about other players. That's what you can count on when they say, hey, this guy can ball. You got to believe him. So I think they're a really good team. And how it shakes out depends on a lot of things, not the least of which is injuries.
Yeah, I had this discussion with somebody yesterday because they kept, DJ, we got to have him. I was like, look, I get it, people. But, buddy, I don't know if I said this on your show or not. Maybe it was another show I was on. Every fan base in America is saying that right now about their quarterback.
I've said it 1,000 times. It's
the most important position in all of sports. And if LSU loses Garrett Nussmeier, they're screwed. If Ole Miss loses Austin Simmons, they're screwed. If Lennar Sellers goes down at South Carolina, they're screwed. Arch Manning goes down, they're screwed. So, but here's the thing. You can't cancel the season. As I said multiple times, whether DJ's our quarterback, which we all hope he is, we're still going to run out of the tunnel with our helmets on, buckle our chin straps, try to win the football game. I can promise you that.
And that was the whole premise of our conversation last night. How good can they be without him? They can still be very good, and that's without him. Naturally, you want him. It's a different team. But we saw what he did last year. And so I think we put a lot on his shoulders right now. He had a little bit of a miracle last year and a finish with winning the 4 games he did. That's just something you don't see. I don't think you can put that on him. They shouldn't say, well, he's got to go out there and win 11 games. No, they're going to be competitive, have a shot, and be in the mix in the playoffs. They got the team to do that.
Kevin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, I saw your whole career. I don't recall you ever out. Did you ever miss any significant time? Never missed a game. We were discussing this last night in the media boy room. That in Spurrier's 12 years here, none of us could recall him ever having a quarterback miss a game. And we took
for injury.
Correct. We took way more beatings than they do because of the way we threw the football. William on the Titan More text line from Panama City says, "Good morning.
Morning,
buddy.
William.
I too live in St. Andrew Bay and Panama City.
Very good.
Beef Drive. How about Buddy? Glad you're in the panel. So maybe Buddy, you can call William and y'all can go have some coffee."
I'd love that, William. We're going to be doing a segment here on our area soon. So stay tuned. We'll have there's a lot of football here, Shane. A lot of football being talked around here in the Panhandle. But the Panhandle Gator Club is going to want me to do something with them. So maybe once a week we'll pop on here with the Panhandle Gator Club and talk about what happens in the area. There's a lot of football, as we know. One of the most famous players ever came from this area. That would be over in Destin. That would be Danny Werfel.
Yes, indeed. All right, buddy, before we get you out of here, talk a little golf. I don't know if you watched the FedEx tournament up in Memphis, but it was a heck of a finish.
I did. Let me just say that I'm glad that he's on our side. This guy is a baller. I'm telling you what, he makes everything. And he makes everything when he has to, Spawn. And I think he's going to be a terrific Ryder Cup player. It was a long day to watch all the golf. I watched a lot. I would switch back and forth from Rays games and back and forth. But no, I think this guy is really a good player and has really never gotten his due, Shane.
No, he's come on strong. Now he didn't win the tournament, but Justin Rose.
Rose played fantastic. You're right, but I mean, it seems like Spawn is there in every tournament.
Yeah, he is. Reggie wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Shane, will you be at the bookstore before games this year? No, Steve and I, for whatever reason, WRUF they're not doing the pregame show anymore, I don't believe. Not sure about that, but that's what I was told.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I did that for a number of years. Yeah, that's a good gig. Can I just say one thing real quick before we go out there? It's a sad day for me because Ocala lost a fine citizen, Robin McLean. Robin and Larry Whitler were on the air for many years at the station I worked at, WCA. And they did so many fantastic things in our community, from going to nursing homes and playing music to children's books to doing. Larry was a wonderful painter. Sadly, about a month ago, they were coming back from the event and they got broadsided and Larry was killed. Robin was not, and we were rooting for her, and then she passed. So just a sad day. R.I.P. to Larry and Robin, two great Ocala people who did so many things, not for gain and whatever, but for the community. They will be missed. And Shane, did you know the other thing? You know, there's one more Whittemore coming. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, talk about him. There's talk about him now. You think he'll be a Gator?
I don't know. He's only going to be a 10th grader. He hasn't played in a high school game yet, buddy.
Yeah, he hadn't played yet. I didn't know that. So
yeah. He's a 10th grader.
Boy, he keeps churning them out. And finally, I don't know. We don't follow recruiting, but there's a really impressive line of Jason Higdon, who's about the best guy out there. Says he caught up with Elijah Haven, who was the number one player. And he spoke reams and reams about how impressed he was with the Gators, Coach Callaway and Coach O'Hara. So maybe Elijah Haven's coming. And also we're waiting to see the final word on this guy, Croach. I can't pronounce his name. He's committed, but yet there's a little bit of recruiting negotiation going on. So that's what's happening there. Just keep me updated, Shane.
Yeah, real quick, Kevin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, I know you talked about this before, but it seems like DJ is just a little too heavy. I'm not saying he's fat or overweight, but maybe 15, 20 might be helpful. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, it's like 245. I think it's way too big. I don't know why he needs to be that big. I think, sometimes even if you're big and strong and whatever, it still causes injuries. I'm not saying that's what it is. Some people just are injury prone.
Yeah.
But I think if he got to 230, he'd be lighter on his feet, and who knows, it could take some pressure off some joints and what have you, and who knows? I mean, we all think we have our own opinions and
Yeah.
what we should do. But I personally do not understand why any quarterback does a whole lot of weightlifting. I've never figured that out.
Shane, he's 247. At the press conference,
Yeah.
we talked to the strength and conditioning coach, and I asked that very question because of you. And they talk about what a stud he was, and I said, "Is he too big?" And I was told, "No, he's not."
Yeah,
So,
that's their opinion. I have my opinion. So
no. I'm just giving you what little I have. I don't have a lot, but I did ask that question.
Yeah.
Because of you,
Yeah.
because you had said he's too big. I take your word for it. Can you be too big and play the quarterback position? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're, I don't think any of us would be talking about this if he was healthy. Right?
Yeah, true.
We wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But how many times have people told you, if your back won't hurt if you lose some weight? Or,
every day in my life.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still a young kid, but I just think if he was 230, it may be better. But that's my 2 cents. But who you got on the program tonight?
Well, tonight's Lauren Meadows. This is night. They're low down with Lauren Meadows. He and Rob Brown will be on. Always have interesting guests. Check them out. They do a great job. Give you a more of a global perspective. They'll update you on what they know. Maybe they'll bring up the stuff about the recruiting. I don't know what the latest is on this guy, Grochi. I don't know how you say his name. But apparently he's quite – I saw video of him last night. He's a big dude who can fly. Man, he goes. He's a track star. So update us on that. I'm sure it'll be a great show. Check out Lauren tonight. And just let me mention also, because I get chastised when I don't do it right. If you really want good reading and you want to know more in depth about the Florida Gator football and basketball program, go to GatorBaitMedia.com. I'm told there's some great bargains there right now. I don't really know. They don't tell me. Until they put them up there, you can get a discount. If you want to go through the season informed with the writers we got some new ones. Check out GatorBaitMedia.com.
All right, buddy. One last text here before we get you out of here is from Joseph in Williston. He says, buddy, I know you love the Gators and you're high on the Gators, but if I held a gun to your head right now, who are you picking to play in Atlanta?
Well, I would defer to the obvious. I like Texas and I like Georgia. I'm not an LSU fan. I would have to go with those guys. My opinion. I'm not sold on LSU. We talked about it last night. Brian Kelly just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. He's got all kind of players. He went to the portal. He's strong there. He brags a lot about it now. Like I said last night, there's something about Brian Kelly that doesn't feel authentic to me. That's just me. I think Kirby's better than what people think. I'm not sure Texas is as good as we think. They're number one, but that's my opinion.
Good stuff, buddy. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Shane.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline courtesy of Comfort Champ. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about what Kevin Brockway is hearing out at practice. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers, setbacks,
Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Florida Crackers, a brand for original Floridians. Great food and southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, FloridaCracker.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We got our man Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Good morning, Shane. How are you?
Good. Before we jump into it, I want to get to this day in sports, which is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union, we're a proud member, Steve Spurrier Banks. I remember this, 1978, New England Patriots wide receiver Darryl Stingley suffers a spinal cord injury, leaving him quadriplegic after a hit by Oakland Raiders Jack Tatum in a preseason exhibition game. Remember that, Brockway?
I was a little young, but I've read accounts of it, and certainly, those Raiders teams of the 1970s, right, were always physical, and they always, that was their brand, and Tatum was the guy that hit over the middle. And of course, Shane, as you know, in those days in the NFL, wide receivers were open game. It wasn't like it was today, obviously. And, sad situation, I remember obviously being a Jets fan, Dennis Byrd as well, and, Mike Utley, you remember, all those things. And it just reminds you how dangerous the game is.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought that was like a Monday night game, but maybe not. I was 8 years old, but I do remember it. All right, Kevin, let's talk about the Mighty Gators. Obviously, the whole news, everybody wants to talk about DJ. Obviously, LJ McCray's out with a little injury. Dallas Wilson's out with an injury. I tell people, we're not the only team that has injuries. If you're practicing football, people are going to get banged up. Now, we don't know the severity of some of this stuff, but other teams are going through it as well. Just your thoughts. Do you think any of these guys will be back for the first two games?
Yeah, tough to say at this point. You would hope DJ would be. You would hope Dallas Wilson would be. I think Trey Wilson will be. That sounds like, Urban said that's like day-to-day, basically. That doesn't seem like that's as severe of an injury. But as far as some of the other guys, and LJ, I think sounds to me like it could stretch into the season a little bit. So, it's going to be, I do think what's interesting, though, is, Billy mentioned yesterday, apparently Aaron Childs had a really good season, or a good scrimmage, and he talked about using him off the edge, right, as an edge rusher, because you have so many linebackers. So that's a way to compensate a little bit there, I think, along with obviously Jaden Woods, who's really coming on in camp as well. So I think they have some depth there in terms of guys that they can rush off the edge. And of course, George Gumbs coming back, who, really showed last year he could be one of the better pass rushers in the SEC.
Yeah, Kevin, I can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure the same way with you, how many people, ask me about the DJ situation. And they ask me, like, are you worried? I'm like, honestly, yes. And the reason I am is because as a quarterback, you need actual reps. You can take all the damn mental reps you want, but until you're actually in game type situations, practice situations with, linemen in your face, linebackers scraping, and, your vision blurred because somebody's in the passing lane or whatever. And not participating in spring, and now we're here in fall and hasn't done any team type activities. Do you get those same type of questions from people?
Well, the one interesting thing, and I did talk to DJ about this over the summer because I had a chance to interview him one-on-one with the EA Sports. And Shane, I don't know if you could speak to this. What I'm interested in is the chemistry with the receivers, too. And, he told me, well, I'm throwing these guys, obviously, but you could probably speak to, throwing on air is a lot different, right, than throwing in 11-11 in a situation with receivers too. And that's the other aspect of it. You've got so many new receivers on this team. And even the year before, because Trey Wilson was hurt, did he really establish that much chemistry with Trey Wilson? So like that aspect of it too. I'm curious to see like when DJ gets ramped up. Now, listen, I saw him in workouts last week through what, because I had heard some questions about arm strength, and he threw one on the dime to Sturdivant that was pretty good, 40 yards, right, over his shoulder. But so much of it too is the compensating, right, and the calf. When you have a calf injury, what do people think about? I mean, people, they look to the NBA and they think of what happened to Tyrese Halliburton, or they think what happened to Jason Tatum. They think Achilles. Football is a different sport. But, you just worry about that aspect of it, too, the whole compensating thing. If one thing goes and you throw with your whole body, with regards to that, too. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of cause for concern going into the season. And what kind of DJ Lagway are we going to see, too? Are we going to see a DJ Lagway that's 100%, that's going to be able to move and do the things that you want? But, Billy Napier's insistent is that the arm strength has not been affected.
Andy on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Losses. Kevin, if we have a huge lead at halftime versus Long Island, which QB do we see in the second half?
You might see Tramel Jones. I mean, he's coming on. Or you might see Tramel Jones to start the game if DJ's not available. Harrison Bailey. I think they might play all of them. Aiden Werner. It seemed like, early in camp they were high on Aiden. Now Tramel is coming on. Harrison Bailey is just a veteran because he's, obviously – had the experience, the FBS experience. But the one thing about Bailey, I think that, do they trust Harrison Bailey? Decision-making, because he seems to throw some picks. So I think all three of those guys, you could go quarter by quarter with them because I think they're all right now kind of battling and playing pretty well. But Tramel has come on of late. They like his arm strength. He throws a pretty nice deep ball. He's still a true freshman, so obviously decision-making and things of that nature too, maybe processing things. You got to, but Billy mentions him being a very smart kid, so he sounds like the kind of kid that can kind of pick that up as things go here in camp.
Yeah, if I'm coaching the team and DJ cannot play, I have no doubt who I'm playing at quarterback, and it's Harrison Bailey. I don't care if he throws interceptions because quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions, but I know he can complete some balls. He played at Louisville under Jeff Brom, who I think is one of the best play callers and teaching quarterback play. He played at Tennessee. I don't even think it's even close in my mind, but that's just me. If I was a coach, that would be my opinion.
They seem to be high on Aiden Werner though, for some reason. And I don't know.
I get that, but, and I love Aiden Werner. I've met him once. I love his story, but what I saw at Texas and Georgia, I don't need to even, I know that was the first time he ever played against SEC opponents and all that stuff. I don't care. I'm going with the guy that I brought in for a reason, right? We brought him in here for a reason. And so if our starting quarterback can't play, I'm going to that guy. Yeah. Brian's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Kevin, can you throw out a number of wins for UF this year? What does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me 8 to 9. Maybe that's being optimistic, but there's a lot of talent on this team, and the line of scrimmage I think is good. I think it's the best line of scrimmage that Billy's had since he's been here. I mean, he's spent the time building it. Both lines of scrimmage I think are deep and strong, and I think they'll be able to run the football pretty effectively with Jaden Baugh and Jacoby Jackson. Regardless of DJ's situation, I still think that this is a team. People talk about the schedule, and it's going to be 7 top 25 teams in both AP and coaches poll, and there are definitely some landmines in there. But listen, if you've built it to this point, you've got an older, experienced group. If you can, get through that first 4 stretch, of 4 straight ranked teams, 2-2 or 3-1. I think you take that momentum into the back end and you have a pretty good season, and you're kind of knocking on the door of the college football playoff. Not necessarily saying they're going to get there this year, but I think they'll be in contention.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, we'd be in the same boat whether DJ practiced all season or not. If he gets hurt at any point, we're in trouble. Our QB room isn't necessarily loaded with talent. I don't think any QB rooms are like that anymore. Somebody's going to have to tell me, what school do you feel good about the backup? Because of NIL and today's way football's played, you're just not going to be able to stack all these kids in one room. The Pouncey twins provide all the Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Kevin, everybody has been talking, offense. I get it. How do you feel about the defense?
I feel pretty good about the defense from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. And, Billy said yesterday he felt like the defense was a little ahead of the offense in the scrimmage. Now, listen, he even prefaced it saying, hey, some of the injuries. But that being said, I think that, that turn that they made, under Ron Roberts, I think it's starting to, it's shown on the field or it's carried over. The defense didn't look great in the spring game, obviously, and who knows, that situation. And, Billy talked about tackling too, but I think that when you look at the front seven, maybe the secondary, you got to wonder a little bit about, Devin, again, health, Devin Moore, like, can he get through a full season healthy? Ben Hanks is a kid that's coming on as the other corner. You got Dijon Johnson. You got Cormani, who is starting to come on a little bit. Aaron Gates is an amazing story, right? Him coming back from the ACL as quickly as he has, and he's going to help probably at, safety and corner and star. I mean, he can play anywhere. And Sharif Denson and, the 2 safeties. I know Billy is concerned about the depth at the safety position in the back end because you're relying on some freshmen. And I saw Lagonza Hayward got beat in the scrimmage, by Vernell Brown the third, obviously who's having a really good camp also, freshman, obviously highly touted recruit. But I think that's an area too where, maybe the back end a little bit, you're a little concerned, but I think the front seven looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's that's going to be the story to me is defense. Kevin, we got a text here from Gary. He wants to know about your Miami Hurricanes. How do you feel Carson Beck at quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think he'll be fine. I think with Miami, you talk about defense. That's the question of Miami is defense, right? And that was something Florida didn't necessarily exploit last year, but it seemed like every other ACC team did as the season went on. And, for them, it's more can like Ruben Baines stay healthy, and can they get, their secondary figured out because, they gave up a lot of points in a lot of games. And I think that's, one of those things where, I think they brought a new defensive coordinator from Minnesota who I think they're going to see if they can get that side of the ball straightened out because, Carson Beck could have a year like Cam Ward, right? But if you're losing games 45-42, what does it really matter?
Very true. Jeff says on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plumber, Warner has possibly improved. None of us armchair quarterbacks know for sure. Heard the spring game has been the only highlight for Bailey, and Warner has outplayed him so far. Well, that is very true, Jeff. But if you play better in a game-type situation than you do in practice, a la Danny Werfel, I'm all for it, right? Some guys are better practice players than they are game players. Seen it multiple times in my career. Zach wants to know, is Warner even on athletic scholarship? Yes, he's a scholarship quarterback now, I believe. Didn't they put him on scholarship, Kevin?
Yeah. He was rewarded with the scholarship during the offseason. So he's a Scully guy now. And I think they, I think they like the way he leads the team and he's got a little bit of mobility. But again, Bailey's got the bigger arm, as you mentioned. And, I asked the same question about Jeff Brom. That Jeff Brom pedigree, too, kind of goes a long way. But, I just think that, Shane, they might just divide it up a little bit in some of these early games, depending on how things are going. Billy's the kind of guy that could play like multiple guys in those first couple of games.
I think people are looking at South Florida like it's going to be a cakewalk. I think with their tempo and the style of offense they play. Now I don't know much about their roster, but let's not forget. Now every year is different. You hear me talk about this on this program daily. But damn, Alabama struggled against South Florida last year.
Yeah, was that at their place or was that in Tampa?
No, it was in Tampa, but that was like a home game for Alabama. There were more people in Tampa for wearing crimson than there were forest green. I'm just saying, USF. You got to get lined up because they play so damn fast. Barone says USF gave Napier hell in 2022. Was that guy the coach then? He wasn't the coach, was he?
No, Billy was the coach then, yeah, but this is a lot different.
No, I'm talking about their coach. They had a different coach at that time, right?
Oh, no, they had Brad Scott. Yeah, it was right before they brought in Golish. Look, Golish plays tempo, and he's going to, offensively, they gave Miami problems too last year a little bit in that game in Tampa in the first half, and then Miami pulled away in the second half of that game. So I think that would be the thing with USF though, is like defensively, like where are they as a program, and they seem like a kind of team that you can score some points on.
Yeah. We got a lot of people who are chiming in about LSU. Kevin, let's just switch. We got a few more minutes here. We talked enough about the Gators, about the injuries, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff every day. A lot of people are high on LSU. I'm one. A lot of people obviously say Brian Kelly can't win the big games. I get that. I just think they have a chance to be really good this year. What do you think about LSU?
Well, what's interesting is Nussmeier is dealing with a little something in his knee, right? Like an MC sprain or something of that nature, or patella strain or something. And Brian Kelly's trying to downplay it. But, DJ Lagway, not the only QB that's a little banged up and dealing with something. So you can pass that along to Gator fans too. I like, listen, they got a lot of talent in the portal for sure. But what is he building foundationally, Brian Kelly? That's what I'm wondering. And I do wonder about, Will Campbell was a pretty good left tackle. The offensive line, how have they rebuilt that, losing the talent that they did to the NFL draft. That's going to be interesting to see. But, the game is there. I mean, that's such a tough atmosphere, as you know, Shane. And that's, that's got to factor into it too, is the ability to, maintain your poise there, and play to a level. It's going to be the first road game of the season, and Billy's been spotty at best on the road, in terms of his record, that whole thing sets up as a big challenge, and then you got Miami back to back. So I think you got to find a way to win one of those two and finish September 3-1, hopefully, and take a little momentum into October.
We'll talk more about it as it gets closer, but as of today, Texas, Ohio State, who wins the game?
Oof. Put me on the spot here. I mean, it's in Columbus, so I got to go with the Buckeyes. But I think Texas will – I think it will be a classic game. I think it'll be a game that, goes down to the wire, and I think we'll see some exciting plays from Arch. And I do think that I hold Sark in very high regard as a play caller. Obviously, it didn't end well for him, in that, Cotton Bowl game. I'm sure he still has memories of Jack Sawyer, right, in that big play. But Florida, and he's as good as it gets in college football, I think.
I agree. Andy wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, where does Pete Alonso now rank among your all-time favorite Mets?
I like Pete. I did a story on Pete like way back when he was in Port St. Lucie, and Pete's a great kid, and he's tied with Darryl. Darryl is still my favorite growing up because I grew up in that era. But Pete is up there, and I had a chance. Darryl was here in February for an FCA, and I kind of had a chance to ask him a little bit about Pete, and he just said, "Hey, look, you know, records are made to be broken, and it stood up for 35 years. I'm kind of surprised it stood up for as long as it did, but he's happy for Pete, you know, and Pete's, you know, listen, you know, Pete's. I think Pete takes a lot of flack from the New York fans because of his defense, but there's no doubting that he's one of their greatest sluggers, like up there with, you know, Mike Piazza and Darryl Strawberry and David Wright in terms of, you know, just the production and his ability to not just hit home runs, but hit moonshots too. And it was really, you know, memorable. And that rookie year in 2019 was something that was a sight to behold. I mean, he was really, you know, came into the league by storm with, you know, hitting over 50 homers that year.
For sure. Last thing here, Kevin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Kevin and Shane, what if LSU loses that first game again? Very possible. I don't think they're going to beat Clemson, but, you know, they could have 2 losses, maybe 3, and make the playoffs this year. So,
it's in Atlanta, right?
See. What's that?
Is that game in Atlanta, that LSU Clemson game?
No, I think it's in Clemson's Death Valley.
It's in
Pretty
Clemson.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the real
loaded this year?
mind? Is it Clemson or LSU?
Say again. I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
What is the real Death Valley in your mind? Is it Clemson or is it FSU or LSU? Excuse me.
Oh, it's Baton Rouge.
Okay.
I don't think there's a greater venue in all of sports than Tiger Stadium at night. I don't think there's anything that compares to it.
Yep. No
I
question.
love it. It's so fun, especially as a visitor. So, Kevin, good stuff as always. Everybody know they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, Gatorsports.com, Gainesville.com, and at Kevin Brockway G1 on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Appreciate your time, Kevin. Good seeing you last night, my man.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
That's Kevin Brockway joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. Rose Over State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right. With the right insurance options for you and your family, visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.